Welcome to Byrl's world.
Yeah. I mean.
All right, if you guys are ready,
Ready when you are.
we'll go ahead and start in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, my name's Casey Visser. I'm the Artistic Director of Billings Studio Theater. It is my pleasure to welcome you to Spotlight on Arts and Culture. This program is graciously made possible by Billings Cultural Partners and Community 7 Television. With me today are two amazing gentlemen and dear friends, Ray Dale, Byrl Skovgaard. They are from our next production called The Tin Woman. We'll get to them in just a bit, but first, a few BST news and notes. First off, tickets are now on sale for season ticket holders for The Tin Woman as of March 18th. They will go on sale to the general public next Tuesday, which is March 25th. We open on April the 11th and close on April 19th. Please note the shorter 2-week run for this show because of Easter, etc., and the fact that our closing show is a Saturday matinee. So on the 19th, the show will run at 2 o'clock. Please purchase tickets by calling the box office at 248-1141 or come into the box office Tuesday through Friday. We're open 10 to 3. We'd love to see you. And of course, go online, buy them online 24/7 at our website, billingstudiotheater.com. Next up, we're very excited for our one-night-only encore of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It plays on Friday, April 4th at 7:30 p.m. at the Lincoln Center Auditorium. We wanted to do a community event, and BST is being used for 10 woman rehearsals. Now this show sold out before it opened around the holidays, so we wanted to make sure everyone got a chance to see it. So the entire cast and crew are back, so that should be a really fun night. Again, that is April 4th for Joseph. Those tickets are now on sale. Rocky Mountain College will be at BST performing Seascape. Their show opens March 21st and plays through the 29th. And auditions for our last show of the season, Jimmy Buffett's Escape to Margaritaville, amazing musical, will be held March 23rd and 24th. That will be at the PAC, that's our rehearsal facility downtown. Those auditions will be at 7 p.m. Please reach out if you have any questions there. Now, after The Tin Woman, our next production is a fantastic comedy called Mama Won't Fly. And that is currently in rehearsals, and we'll be doing a program about that next month. So as you can see, lots happening at your community theater. But I wanted to turn our attention to The Tin Woman. So Byrl and Ray, Byrl, I'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and what do you like about theater?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm a retired teacher. I taught special ed teacher here in Billings for 40 years, retired a few years ago. I've been involved with BST since about the early 80s, I guess. I did a little bit of theater in junior high and high school, and then got kind of more involved in college. So it's just kind of been a thing I enjoy doing, you know, right, after the teaching day was over, kind of thing.
Right, and you see a lot of theater, you know, you go.
Yeah, I've seen some, I mean,
right,
you know, but yeah, it's a major interest for
good
our family.
Good. How about you, Ray? What do you like about theater?
You know, I've been doing theater for quite a while.
Right.
About 20 years, 21 years now.
Right.
And I just can't think of anything where you make this connection with people that are out
right
in the audience. And, you know, I mean, we've talked about this, it's kind of cliche where you talk about people that come in and they've had a bad day and everything, and but they come in, they see what we're doing, and they start
right
laughing, and, you know, to know that I had something to do with that,
it's magical.
It
yeah.
is. It's the magic of theater for me.
Well, and every audience is different. Every performance is different, right? Yeah. So, Ray, start with you. What's your history with BST? What do you like about Billings Studio Theater? What keeps you coming back, you know, show after show?
Well, I started doing theater at BST back in 2003. The first show I ever did was Christmas Story.
Okay.
And I just fell in love
right
with the whole process, with being up on stage,
Right.
with hearing the audience laugh or gasp sometimes.
Sure.
Just being up in front of people, I've always enjoyed that.
Right.
And then, in addition to that, when you're involved in a show,
Right.
you end up becoming so close to the people that you're involved with. The other
Right.
actors, the stage crew, the directors, and the friends that I've got at BST
Right.
are my
Lifelong
best friends.
friends,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're my best friends in the world now.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know off the top of your head how many shows you've been a part of?
It's 40 plus. I
Oh
know
my
that.
goodness.
I know that much. I every once in a while I try to count, and
Right.
I can't. I can't. But I know it's over 40.
Wow.
You know.
Wow. Byrl, so 1980s, right?
I
goodness.
did my first show in '82.
So what about this organization has kept you coming back year after year?
It's what's great about it is you people from all over. I mean,
Right.
teachers, lawyers, doctors, nurses, pipe fitters, construction workers, people all. But it generally have the love for the theater.
Right.
And that, like Ray had said, you make these connections, and you work with somebody on stage, and the next time you work with them on stage again,
Right.
there's this trust, there's this connection, and that's already established. So
Absolutely.
same thing when you're working with different directors or directing people that you've worked with before. It's just automatic. You've
Right.
got this comfort level.
Right.
So.
And we're veterans at this point, right? How many shows, Byrl? Do you have any sense?
Oh, I think Tin Woman's going to be the 18th I've directed,
Oh my goodness.
and I think somewhere about 60 to 70 that I've been in at BST.
Wow.
So a bunch.
Lots of experience on this
Yeah,
couch,
yeah.
folks. Yeah. Well, and we're veterans, but this year's been so exciting to me because so many new folks have joined us as well.
Yeah.
Every show,
Yeah.
including yours, and we'll talk about that in a minute, have new
Yeah.
talent, new people, either behind the scenes or on stage. Okay, let's turn our attention to the Tin Woman. What drew you guys to this project? So it doesn't matter who goes first. Byrl, why did you put in to direct? Ray, why did you audition? So whoever wants to go first. What drew
All
you?
right. I'm on the play reading committee.
Okay.
So I don't remember. We had done a couple. The man who wrote Tin Woman, Sean Grennan. We've
Right.
done a couple of his shows.
Right.
Ray was in one last year. You directed one 2 seasons ago.
Right.
So we were familiar with his work and kind of researched and looked and saw that Whitefish, Montana had done the Tin Woman.
Right.
We all read the script and loved it. It's a great story, and that's what drew me to it. It was just there's all kinds of it makes you think, it makes you laugh, it makes you cry. It just seemed
Right.
like a terrific story.
Yeah, and we're storytellers.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic. Ray, I mean, you're so you're such a good actor. You can audition for any project. Why did you choose to come out for this one?
Well, you're right. Usually I don't do these kind of shows. These
Right.
the more dramatic.
More dramatic,
More
yeah.
drama.
Yep.
Usually I do I love the comedies. I love doing it. I always have. But for some reason, the idea of playing a guy who has lost his son and dealing with the emotional roller coaster of that, and then meeting the
Right.
the woman who receives his heart.
Right.
The thought of that, for some reason, that just struck a chord with me, and I just
Sure.
thought
Sure.
that really sounds interesting.
And you're a father.
Yes, yes, I have 3 kids
you
of
got
my
3
own.
wonderful kids
Yes.
and grandkids, and
Yeah.
yeah. So, and we got to be careful with this one. Spoiler-free synopsis. I don't want to give anything away, but what's kind of the general story here? Whoever wants to jump in, Byrl or
The story is that there's a young woman named Joy who's had a heart transplant.
right.
And she's dealing with survivor guilt. She's dealing with some depression. She's, why am I alive? And this person donated the heart is gone. So she decides to reach out to the family of the donor.
Right.
And she does that, and the mother of the man who donated the heart, who lost his life, is named Jack. Jack's mother, Alice, replies to Joy and says, "We'd like to meet you."
Right.
And that's most of the second act of the show is the actual meeting of the family with Joy.
Right. Good, good. Anything you want to add, Ray? That was pretty non-spoilery.
Well, it sounds pretty heavy,
Right.
but
Right.
there is a lot of levity in this
Right.
show. There's a lot of funny things that happen
Yeah.
in this show, which may seem a little strange, but
Right.
it's I mean, watching the rehearsal last night, I was just dying laughing at one point. And I've seen this part of the show over and over,
Right.
but it still makes me
Finding
just
something,
die
yeah.
laughing.
Good.
And I think that's, of course, we've talked about this before. That's important to this kind of show, that there's
Right.
some break from the heaviness of it, but at the same time, it really is, as Byrl said, it's really well written. This guy can really
Yeah.
really does some funny stuff.
He does, yeah, yeah. That's a great point. We don't want to scare people off, thinking this
Yeah.
is so heavy that it's, there is levity, there is humor, just like life, It's really good. So, Ray, I'll start with you this time. What's going well in the rehearsal?
show?
Yeah, with the basic rehearsal process. You guys are about halfway through, I guess.
Well,
Maybe
yeah,
a little
and
Roughly,
yeah, roughly.
and typically at this point we're I always say that when you're doing a show, it kind of goes like this, where as far as the difficulty part of it, when you start the rehearsal process, it's a lot of fun. It's all new, and then it starts getting where it's, for lack of a better term, it's drudgery.
Feels like work.
Yeah, in that you've done this over and over, and it's not coming as quick as you want it to come.
Right.
And it gets a little frustrating, but you just keep working through that, and then you start it starts coming
Then
easier
it's
and
fun,
easier, and
right?
then you realize again just how fun this show is. And right now, believe it or not, we are in remarkable shape as far as our, what people have done as far as learning lines,
Right.
Learning the blocking and all that. Byrl keeps saying, you guys are doing so well with the lines. And, it really, when you look at the cast, it is made up of people that have done this quite a lot. There's only, there's one girl, Grace, that hasn't, I don't know how much she's done, not as much as the rest of us. The other new guy, Max, he hasn't done anything at BST, I don't believe, but he has a lot of experience
On his resume.
from where he used to live in New York. And so, that experience, we all know just how hard it is
to teach that, yeah.
to get to a point where you're comfortable with the script.
Right.
And I really think that we're all there right now. We're very comfortable with this, while still being moved by it.
It'd be fun to see where you go. At this point, yeah. Byrl, would you agree? Do you feel like
Yeah,
you're
as
in
far
good
as
shape?
the great thing for me is that we've got a cast of 6 that's very invested.
Right.
And you can tell they've worked hard from
Right.
the very beginning.
Right.
Sarah McManus is my assistant director, and anything with suggestions or ideas we've given the cast, we see. Sometimes it might be a rehearsal or 2 before it shows up, but they all, they
thinking
do
about
the
it.
things. Yeah,
Right.
so it's there. So yeah, that part has been. you know, a lot of times you've got to work through a lot of blocking on a lot of different things. I've been doing a lot of the little things that I normally
do
don't
much
do
later,
until the
yeah.
last week or two.
Right. That's
So,
fantastic.
and we've been doing that pretty early on.
That's
so,
fantastic.
in that respect, it's been easy.
Right.
But it's also been because of the nature of the show and the emotional roller coaster the cast goes through. It's been interesting to see the support that they give each other, you know, working through scenes because they're
Lots
just,
of hugs after rehearsal.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
noticed.
a lot, and
good.
they're there for each other, and that's what the show needs.
It needs, right?
I've never felt the kind of things that I feel in this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's new ground almost.
Yeah. So let's jump into that. Tell us about your character, Ray. Hank is his name.
Hank.
Tell us about Hank.
Hank is kind of a gruff, albeit big-hearted guy. You learn more about him as the show progresses, but he really comes off as being he's a jerk. Just flat out, he's a jerk to his wife, to his daughter. But like I said, you start, as the show progresses, you start seeing bits and pieces of him, and you start to realize how he got to where he is and how that's not actually
Right.
who or what he is.
Right. Yeah, I think your character goes on a pretty big journey in this thing.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Byrl, I'll throw this one to you. Is there a character you personally identify with more than the others, or not?
Yeah, and probably why I've been the hardest on Ray, I think, more. I see a lot, you know, I through my experience, I understand Hank. If I hadn't put in to direct it, I would have loved to audition for Hank.
Sure.
So it's kind of like, you know, poor Ray's had to deal with, well, this is how I do it, and, you know.
No.
But it's important that Ray, you know,
Does his
find the
thing.
way that Ray
Yeah.
does it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, you know, for me, the easiest one to identify with is Hank.
Yeah, yeah, and I think being fathers, that's
Yeah.
you know, you
Oh,
kinda-
yeah.
you kind of go through that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll circle back to this. So we said what was going well. Is there anything that kind of scares you about this production? Not scares you, but just kind of gives you pause.
I've never been involved in a show like from the second night of auditions that has been as emotional.
Oh, sure.
Both as a director and I think for the actors,
Cast
you know,
member,
I
right.
would doubt they've been in too many things that are that kind of level, because it is. The ending of the show is extremely powerful, very moving, and so dealing with that and understanding that, okay, every night's going to be a little bit different.
Right.
How the
Right.
crowd reacts, how the actors react. Because you know, we've never, that last scene has never been done the same way each night, and that's good.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
think
wanna
I think that's great.
Overblock it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray, we talked a little bit before the interview.
Yeah.
What scares you?
Well, a couple things.
Yeah.
First off, this role, and I think all of the roles, require the actor to become very vulnerable
Yeah. Right.
in front of people, and that's a scary place to go sometimes.
Can be. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that is one thing that I don't want to say that I worry about it, certainly, but it is something that is in the back of my mind.
Right.
You know, but and then on a completely different note, I'm kind of concerned with the perception of the show from the audience perspective, in that not the audience so much as the people considering coming to the show. It seems like it would be. I mean, if you just read the synopsis of the show, of the story, it would seem like it's a very heavy, really. I mean, when I was going to audition for this, people that had already read the script said, "Well, you better bring a box of Kleenex because you're going to need it." And so I walked into it thinking that it's going to be just this real heavy, you know. And there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of levity in this, and you know, I just, I'm not sure that people are getting that they might be
right.
scared away from it
That's fair.
for
Yeah.
for the you know, just the very reason that that they don't like dramas. You know, they don't like these heavy, you know, cry fest kind of shows, and this is so much more than
Yes,
that.
yeah. And I don't want to give anything away, but I find it very hopeful.
Yes.
You know, I've said it on some rehearsals. When you guys are done, I felt a sense of hope. Kind of, very uplifting.
Very much so.
So I don't think it's going to be this. Oh man, you know, where you're leaving the theater feeling down necessarily. You know. So brings me to my next point. Why should people spend their hard-earned cash on this show? And I think we've already kind of hit a lot of these.
I think you mentioned it. First night of auditions, I told people auditioning, I said, I really want people to leave the theater with the feeling of hope.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what is that.
Yeah.
Everybody's had to deal with grief in some form or
Yes,
another. The
yes.
loss of a grandparent, a parent, in this case,
yeah.
a child.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've all had to deal with those things
Right.
in different ways, in different times. And this is watching people dealing with that.
Or not.
And yeah, and being because, you know, seeing a lot of yourselves up there
Yeah.
and how you were feeling,
Right.
you know, when you were dealing with this
Well,
kind of thing.
in grief, and I read this somewhere, grief is a process. It's not a journey. There's no end to it.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
Yeah,
you're
it's
constantly dealing with it.
Yeah.
Right?
And it you know, it's just something, it's very human.
Right.
You know, the show's very human. These people are wonderful people, but they're flawed. You
Like
know,
all of us,
they're,
right.
they have, you know, moments where you go, well, yeah, that one's kind of a jerk or whatever,
Right.
but you also, then something happens and you go, oh my God.
I see where they were coming from.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
character's so, at the end you go, you know, that character is just really good and really changed and you're just really there with them.
Yes. Yes. Good. Ray, anything you want to add there?
I was going to say that I find the show very life affirming. It's very it just makes you want to not only see the best in people, but hope for the best for your own life, for others.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. Fantastic. So you guys have obviously done a ton of theater. What makes this show unique compared to all the others you've done? You know, I think it's special to both of you, right? Why is that?
I can say that it's dealing with a subject matter that I certainly have never dealt with before. It's my character is dealing with something that, you know, like Byrl said, we've all had to deal with, but I've never done something like this up on stage and you know,
be vulnerable.
yeah,
like you
open
said.
myself up to that. And I don't know. I guess I don't know. I guess it's just again very life affirming. After I read the script, I thought, man, this is not this is kind of like a feel good movie almost. You know, it's not as like a Debbie Downer kind of thing at all.
Sure, it'll take you on a journey.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it when you're part way through it, you know, you think, oh my word,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
but you know.
How about you, Byrl? How is the show unique in your history?
I think it's extremely unique in that there aren't many shows that the actors really, really need to go up on that stage and be so raw, so emotional, and just kind of open up. Okay, here I am. Here's my soul, and that, as an actor, is, you know, really challenging.
It is.
And as a director, to have that in a cast and people willing to do that is real special.
Right.
And that to me is the wonderful thing about it.
Right.
And that's, I think that, I know I feel that way, but I think the cast feels that way too, that we're really working on something that's very special.
Yeah, I agree. A few things, and we'll see how we're doing time-wise. We've got two sponsors for this show. We have Intermountain Health, and they're going to do kind of some educational outreach with organ donation and stuff. Maybe have some materials in the lobby and stuff, which is super cool.
Okay.
They may do a little presentation before some of our shows, a little 10-minute talk. So that's super cool. And then Friends of Rita. Rita Heiser, longtime actress and volunteer, passed away a few years ago. Some folks kind of anonymously help sponsor shows that we think she would like, and this would be a show Rita would love.
Oh yeah.
She would
so,
love.
too.
So Byrl, do you want to tell me about your production team? Who's on your team?
Okay, well, at this point, Sarah McManus is my assistant director.
Great, yep.
I think we've got Shannon Johnson on board to do her stage manager.
And she was in Halfway There, and that
Yes,
was
yes, she was.
fantastic.
Nancy Wallenberg is doing costumes.
And Miranda as well. I think
Miranda's helping
yep.
with that. And I think we've got Jana Lynn, of course, is putting together the set and design that, and we'll be putting that together. And then Nicole Bradley is, understand, going to be running the lights and helping with the setup of the lights and such.
Yeah, and I think Jan is helping with lighting
Yeah,
design
right.
too. Yeah, so fantastic crew as well.
Yeah,
you
some
know.
people that have worked with before and
But some
very
new
good
folks
at what
too.
they
I
do.
think Shannon hasn't stage managed before, so that's super cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through your cast, or should we just tell people to go to the website?
Oh,
or?
if
I
you
mean,
want.
it's a small cast, and we got
Yeah,
time.
so obviously Ray Dale here plays Hank, the father. Joy is played by Stephanie Byers, who has done several shows over the years.
Right.
Sammy, who is the daughter of Hank, is played by Kayla Braun, who's done several shows. And then Alice, the wife, is played by Lynn Turner Fitzgerald, who's done several things. And then we have two newcomers.
Right.
The young man who plays Jack is Max Brand, and he hasn't done anything at BST, but he's got a terrific acting background.
Right.
He's gone to school in both New York and London and has worked in New York.
Right.
And then we have a young lady from Michigan, Grace Chandler, who is playing kind of a dual role. She plays the nurse, and she also plays Joy's best friend, Darla. So having two new people in that small cast is really
And again,
very
every
neat.
show this year we've had
A lot of new people.
which is exciting for the audience to see
Yeah.
fresh faces. Up
Oh
there.
yeah.
Not that they get tired of you guys, but
But
I don't see how they possibly could.
So definitely come see 10 Women. We open April the 11th, again play through April 19th. Once again, thank you so much to Billings Cultural Partners, to Community 7 Television, and we'll see you next time. So this is Casey Visser signing off. Thank you.